Howdy folks, this is Early here and welcome back to a texture pack update video 119. And I have so much to talk about. This is going to be quite a long video, but it'll be worth it, I hope. I'm just going around the world because I have a new world, a new test world for 119, and I found a mangrove swamp so I can test some textures. And I have to say, every time I start a new world for a texture pack series, it is always the best looking seed. Every single time. Whoop, don't look over there, spoilers. Wow, can't believe it. There's a bunch of new textures in here that I've done that you're not going to know till I point them out. But anyway, let's get started. So first of all, the boring stuff. Since this is a new 119 texture pack update series, I have to explain everything from the beginning. I run two texture packs at once. I run a Red Craft default realism or smooth realism texture pack that I've been nursing along and converting with permission ever since 1.11 to 1.12, and now we're 1.19, and I've converted the pack to work. However, I had to thin out a lot of stuff. I had to get rid of a bunch of stuff because it just wasn't compatible anymore. It would crash on a paper server. It would cause things to bring me down like 5 frames per second. Those of you who watched the Eternia series have heard all about this. So I had to remove the font, so we're actually running default font right now. I'm going to get my own font someday, but default font now. And I had to remove some other overlays and images and things. So the 119 conversion of the Red Craft texture pack is thinned way down. So if you only run that, it's going to be very empty just because of compatibility issues as time marches on. Remember, that thing started like back at 1.8 to 1.12 before I started converting it with permission. That being said, the other thing I do is I run my own texture pack, which I'm building with all the new stuff since 1.12 and some original stuff too. And I have to say, disclaimer, nothing in the Red Craft texture pack gets brought over into mine. They are completely independent. They just happen to run well together. Eventually, I will have my own texture pack 100% and not have to have the Red Craft sitting underneath it. But just to be clear, nothing in the Red Craft is used in my texture pack. Completely separate. Alrighty, I think I got that out of the way. Yep, so that's the Red Craft update part. Again, worked for 119, and it's been thinned way down. So if you only run the Red Craft conversion, you're going to be missing a lot of stuff, just because time marches on. Alrighty, starting with my texture pack now. I've done a few things that aren't new to 1.19 just because I wanted to get some bricks going, and I made bricks. Why? Because in the Eternia SMP, I'm going to build my hotel out of brick, and I wanted my own brick texture, so there it is. This, if you want to know, was taken from the pool room in the Inn on Lake Superior in Duluth, Minnesota. If you ever get to Minnesota, you have to go to Duluth. Otherwise, that's where this brick came from. I took probably 50 pictures of different brick walls around my city and the state whenever I would be somewhere, and I finally found one that I liked. I think it turned out absolutely fabulous as a texture. And I took the picture in such a way I didn't even need to edit it. I just slapped it in there and bam, had a texture. And it's completely seamless. If I turn off borders, you do not know where the borders are. It is 100% seamless. Where you might think there's a border, there isn't. So I'm very proud of this texture. That's one that I did. Something that is also not new to 119 is chests. I came up with my own chest texture. And that's because in order to do a chest boat texture, I couldn't use the Red Craft chest. I had to have my own chest, right? I can't use stuff. I could probably ask Red Craft for permission to use some of their stuff for continuity, but I don't want to go down that path because it could get messy later. So in order to do the boat chest or chest boat, I had to come up with my own chest. So here is my own chest texture. I'm super proud of it. I worked this out many different ways. I decided to go with this style, looking dirty, because it should look dirty, right? And then it has this binding on there, it has a latch, and the inside, if you look super fast, when I close up the inventory, bam, there's an inside to it. It's dark on the top. double chest, which is actually trickier to do than you would think, and latched, or trapped, I mean. See the red around there? The trap chest, see the red? Just very, very subtle, just like the default texture. Because those you all know, as I do my own textures, I want to stay as close to default as I can while also being photorealistic. Does that make sense? I've been over that before. So I want it to look like default, but I want it to be photos as well. So I'm very, very proud of my chest texture. I just want to stare at it all day. A lot of work. I've been putting in so many hours late at night and other times of the day when I can sneak in a minute here and there. A lot of lunch breaks at work have been spent working on textures. So anyway, I'm very happy and very proud of these two. I just want to stare at them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's not hard. Well, it can get hard. So that's why I'm proud of it too. I'm mainly proud of it by how it looks. Even if it's easy, like this was easy, I'm still proud of it. This was actually more difficult than it looks. I'm proud of it too. So anyway, chest and trapped. Chest again, very subtle redstone around the latch, as it is in the default. Very subtle, but it works. Alrighty, moving on to something new, the frog lights. Now I have to explain this a little bit because the shaders actually mess them up. Without shaders, they look, well, they look different without shaders. But I use shaders. I use the Sildurs Enhanced Default Fancy 1.131. And you have to use shaders with my textures, otherwise anti-aliasing isn't good enough. You need the anti-aliasing from Optifine and the shaders for my textures to look good. Otherwise they look very grainy and terrible. You just have to. So the shaders screw up the frog poop, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So when I made these textures, if you think about it, a frog eats a magma cube and poops it out. So we're looking at glowing frog poop. The default texture kind of has a border on it, but why would frog poop have a border? I guess if you took it and squished it with your hands, hopefully you wear gloves, and dried in the kiln and put it in a lamp, then it would have a border maybe. But I want it to look like frog poop. So no border on mine. And it's all swirly and it looks awesome. There's a lighter side, which is like this. You can see that's the part that the shaders screw up, but we'll just have to live with it. So the shaders screw up this part, the lighter side, but that's okay. So you can orientate it two ways. It all lights up, but you got the brighter light and the regular light. Two different ways, three different colors depending on the frog and where the frog came from. But there you go. There's your frog poop lights. I cannot wait to use them on Eternia once we update to 119 and figure out how to get a bunch. Although I think Wendon maybe already has a frog poop farm ready to go. I think we just need to update to 119. I think. I could be totally wrong, and I feel badly if I have the person wrong and that whole thing wrong. But there you go. Frog poop. Glowing frog poop. So that's the three stuff over here, because the next section is going to be a huge reveal. A lot to talk about at once, but we're going to talk about it. And it takes so long to set it up, I just left it set up. So this is all new textures. Every single thing you see is mine. Most of them are redone from previous iterations. But except for this, except for the oak door and the oak trap door, that is still Redcraft. I will do my own someday. It's just Redcraft is such an amazing job. I don't know how I can do this good of a job, so I'm scared to touch those. But otherwise, this is all mine. The iron door and iron trap door are Redcraft too, but that's because they match the oak. So anyway, this is all mine. Let me go through this. It's going to take us a while, so maybe pause and get yourself a sandwich and your favorite beverage and come back. And we're going to talk about all of this stuff that you see. And we still have more too. We still have to talk about the entire mangrove forest too. But anyway, let's start with this stuff. I assume you've paused and came back if you need to. So here you go. Starting with the trees in the woods. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's go across and we'll come down. Okay, so bark. The Redcraft version had the same bark for everything except birch. I made them all different based on as close as I could to real life. So here is oak. there's your oak tree, a real oak tree. Made it into bark. Now the coloring is a little golden because I matched the default Minecraft colors for all of these, by the way. Again, I'm trying to stay as true as I can to default while making it photorealistic. So it's a little golden for my taste, but it matches the default scheme of oak. I keep thinking golden oak because I used to sell golden oak in real life as a teenager, but oak in Minecraft is this color scheme. So I made it that color scheme. And there's your oak tree, and then here's your stripped oak, which I redid to be better colored. And then my own planks. Look at this. I made my own planks. I did like 15 versions. This is what I came up with. Fairly rustic and dirty. I can't even remember where this came from. Somewhere in my house, but I did a ton of work, and the reason why it looks dirty is because when I change color schemes, you can do things with highlights and lowlights, and that's why it looks dirty, even though my sample was not dirty. I'm so proud of this stuff. I can't, considering I have no graphic art skills other than what's in my head and screwing around with GIMP, which is like the open source Photoshop. I'm really proud of myself that I know how to do this. I don't even know how I do it. I just do it. So anyway, there are the planks. Again, so I use the same planks for everything just for continuity. I was going to do different planks for every wood type, but then the continuity is lost, right? Because again, in Minecraft, the default, the continuity is there. So I wanted the continuity to be there in my textures as well. We have so many friends visiting us. And every once in a while a creeper comes up. And an enderman. But anyway, oak. Stripped oak. And oak planks and my bark along the edges, and this is, you've seen before, inside of a real tree. Moving over here, I think this is spruce. Is this spruce? You think I would know? Yeah, it's spruce. Again, I used a real spruce tree for the bark. It's not spruce color because real spruce trees are actually kind of silver, but I wanted to stay true to the Minecraft color scheme for continuity with other players and stuff. Like if they're using a different texture pack, I want my build, I want their builds to look the same in my texture pack, right? So I changed the color to match the default, even though I don't like it because it's not real spruce coloring, even though it is real spruce bark. There's the strip version, I tweaked that, and there are the planks. Again, if I remove the texture pack and put up the default colors, everything matches exactly. See that? Take a mental snapshot. I'm going to put my textures back in, and you'll see they actually match exactly. See how cool that is? Alrighty, so there's this spruce stuff, and then next we have what? Birch, of course. Real birch tree. I even gave it a curved effect. I try to make them look curved as I can. These, like, that one looks curved kind of, that one kind of does. This one really looks curved, so that was really awesome. And there's obviously going to be a pattern, but I want it to be different than like, oh, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the default. So I did that, so it's a little easier on the eyes. Again, you got bark. Oh, I made the bark different thicknesses too on the edges, just depending on the kind of tree it was. So they're all like this, a little bit thicker, and stuff like that. So, anywho, there's birch again, stripped, and planks, and then jungle, which I'm super proud of that one, stripped and planks. I guess I can let you look at it for a minute since these are all new. Acacia tree bark looks almost exactly like oak, so I took a similar sample. I used the same tree as the oak one, but a different part of it, so it's different. It's not the same, it's different, even though it's similar, just like real life. Colors match the scheme. Acacia stripped, acacia planks. Looks like carrots. Dark oak. Okay, for the dark oak, I literally took the oak and just made it darker because it's dark oak. So dark oak, there's a tree, or logs they call it. Stripped and planks, and then mangrove. This is not a mangrove tree bark, but I researched it and made it look exactly like mangrove tree bark. So that is exactly, and it looks round. See, it looks round. That's what mangrove tree bark looks like, and that's what I made it look like. I also, for the coloring, since everybody was complaining about the coloring of the default, it's pretty close. I tweaked it to be a little more like real mangrove, which actually is a red. It's not even red orange like acacia. It's actually red. It's a redwood type thing. So, like, not a redwood tree, but a redwood. So I made it look like that. So, They actually got the color spot on in Minecraft, but I tweaked it just a little bit to match a photo of actual mangrove. So there's your mangrove. It does give another color option. And then you've seen this before, the crimson, but I tweaked the stripped and I made crimson planks now. Very proud of that. And there's your warped. That's the same, but I made warped planks. There's a mistake in that warped log, in the warped stem. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm leaving it because it gives it a little different characteristic than the crimson. So I'm not even going to point it out, but I'm leaving it. Alrighty, so then because of the planks, that gives us automatically the slabs. There we go. All 9 wood types. Then there's our fences and our gates. All 9 wood types again. Very cool. And then gives us stairs, of course. And then buttons, pressure plates, and signs. So I redid all my signs. None of these are Redcraft anymore because of continuity, and I can't use Redcraft stuff. So all the signs are mine now. On the default sign, the side you write on is actually lighter in shade, not in color, but lighter in shade than the back side. But I made them both sides the same color because I want the original color after you've written on it, especially now with glowing ink. So there you go. There's all your signs, your buttons, and your pressure plates for all 9 wood types. And then, well, we're not done. Doors, I already told you how the iron door and the oak door, I'm still using Redcraft until I get the confidence to make an oak door as good as Redcraft, which will then just make it iron as well. Okay, so the doors. Some are the same, but these 3 are new because I redid these. I like this one. It's kind of like a barn door type thing. There's like the default. This looks like the default too. And these look like the default, but I redid them. Anywho, this is brand new, of course. In the default, though, these are circles, and I had a hard time making them look like circles. So I just did this, and I gave it a plate to push on. Same thing with the trapdoor. I just give it my own design here a little bit. I mean, it's very similar, but kind of my own. The coloring, though, if you put these surrounded by the planks of the matching wood, the colors are a little brighter, and that's because if you have a door, you're going to finish it, and you're going to put poly on it, and you're going to keep it clean, at least when you build it. So they don't match the planks, but I'm going to keep it the way they are. Like, I love my spruce door. I like how these look like, basically they're logs bound together, and that's what this looks like. You can tell they're round logs bound together with like a big knocker thing for a handle. And I'm keeping it because I love it. I love my birch door so much. I'm keeping it. My jungle door, I like it because it's like 1974. Like, it looks like a house in 1974, so I'm keeping it. Acacia's always worked out. The dark oak is a little dull, but again, that's on purpose. And then this one, now that does use the planks because they built it at the same time. And this uses the planks, so they built at the same time, and that's what it is default anyway. And this I use the planks, so these match. And I built it, and I redid that, and that looks match. That matches default anyway. I'm not going to redo these 3 here, though. I just like them so much. So they kind of stand out a little bit if you surround them by the planks, but that's just how it is. Yeah, I like them, though. Alrighty, so because of the chest boat thing, or boat with chest, they call it chest boat in the files, I needed my own boat texture and my own chest texture because I couldn't use Redcraft stuff and put it in mine. So I took another opportunity, hey buddy, to then get a little creative with the coloring. So it wasn't so like the same. So I took the planks, I made them darker and dirtier for the bottom, and then I made really dirty old, like, you know, because they'd be set in the water, right? I made dirtier oars, weathered, I should say weathered. Well, this is dirtier, these are weathered. So the boat and the bottom change based on the type of wood, but the bottom is dirtier. The oars change a little bit. Some of them have the same oars if they went well, and others have slightly different ones. Like, these are different so that they will look better. If I use like those oars with these, they won't look as good. And we got some mangrove oars there. So the oars are different color than the boat, and then the bottom of the boat is dirtier. I just am so freaking proud of how that turned out. At least it's all the same color. I'm so proud of those. And then I took my chest texture, and you had to modify it a little bit to fit in here. But now we have a chest in a boat. And look how that, I mean, that is photoreal. with the folded wheel grass. I mean, man, if I could get the right angle, you would think, oh, there's a drone or somebody standing on a tripod taking a picture of a real thing. Like the 3D is there. Look at the 3D-ness in that chest. And the boat bottom. The boat bottom, look at that. I'm so freaking proud of this stuff. Man, on the one hand, I wish my texture pack were more popular because of all the work, and I'm proud of it. But at the same time, I don't want it to be more popular, just because I don't know. Then people complain about things, and then I only have the 128, which a lot of computers can't run. So people have been asking me to tone it down. I'm like, I don't know how to tone it down. I'm just building it the way I am, I guess. And because some people don't understand that I'm also running Redcraft under my textures, but yet they're completely separate, have nothing to do with each other, for like, legal reasons, and because I want to do my own work anyway. I just don't want it to be more popular, but sometimes I wish it were. Anyway, yeah, I'm so happy with this. So there's all the woods and everything, and all the boats and everything, and oh my gosh, I'm so proud of this. Before we go to the mangrove forest, those of you who haven't been watching every texture pack update video, all the things I have done in the past, all the stones are mine. No, they're not. The stone is mine. That's still Redcraft, but stone is mine, dirt is mine, snow is mine, grass is mine, dirt path is mine, regular path is mine, the grass is mine, not the 3D grass. I'm going to do that next. All the ores are mine, all the deep slate is mine, all the deep slate ores are mine. Water is Minecraft default. What else? Half the flowers are mine. All the trees are mine now. I have one leaf type left to do, or two leaf types to change. But otherwise it's all mine. So before we go to the mangrove, let's actually go over here and look at the jungle stuff in context. Now, the jungle leaves I did long time ago, and with the update to 119, my cocoa seeds are no longer brown, they're green, which is fine because I guess they wouldn't be fully matured anyway, right? So it's okay that they're greenish. The vines are not mine, I gotta make my own vines, but otherwise that's mine. The wood is mine now. I love, love, love how the jungle tree looks in context now. Look at the wood. Whoops. The wood and the leaves. I just gotta do my own vines. Isn't that so cool? I can't believe it. Oh yeah, the bamboo is mine. Thanks to Epona for sending me real bamboo photos. Oh, I'm so happy. I can't believe I've done this. My goodness. Sometimes I just want to give up and use default textures because they're getting better and they don't give me headaches as much. And it's a lot of work whenever there's a new version. But then I'm like, you know what? Why would I not want to use like textures that I've done? It'd be crazy to not use them. Anyway, let's go to the mangrove forest now and talk about mangrove stuff. I've done everything in the mangrove biome. We'll look at that later. So the leaves, I did the mangrove leaves. They look exactly like default, droopy and wavy. However, the coloring is Minecraft's coloring, because when you do these things, a lot of these, you do everything in grayscale, and then Minecraft colors it. So this is not my coloring, so therefore that is Minecraft's coloring. Matches the vines too. Again, vines are not mine, but everything else is. Coming down here, you already saw the tree itself. The roots I did, I'm proud of these roots. The coloring is a little bolder than I was going for. I wanted it to match the tree better, but I guess the main root down the middle matches the tree, and then the rest are just kind of offshoots anyway. But the continuity is there. If I take off this, you can't tell where the break is. If I go down to where you can't count pixels like this, you can't tell where the break is. You might think you know where it is, but it's not. It's all completely continuous and smooth. And then those come down into the mud. The moss I did a long time ago. The grass is mine. This grass isn't. The regular grass, not the 3D grass again. The mud is mine. I spent so much time working on this mud because every time I would do a mud texture, there would be a pattern in it. It was so awful to look at. Now you can't really see a pattern. And if you stand at an angle, this is the exact texture that the default gives you. Exactly. It's just my own mud. Like, that's real life mud that I made, that I took pictures of and made work. So I am so freaking proud of this mud texture. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how proud I am. Yeah, super proud of it. And the roots too are really cool. When you walk through here and you see all these roots, like, isn't that so cool? And again, the grass texture is mine, not that grass, but the grass texture is mine. What else is there about the trees? Well, we've got the propagule things, which are like the big seedlings that come out. In real life, they just look like Thai peppers. It was really cool. I would have used a picture of a Thai pepper, but I don't have Thai peppers right now in the house because they make me faint. Not going to talk about that right now. So I haven't been buying Thai peppers lately. My 11-year-old and I used to just eat Thai peppers raw. Yum, yum, yum. But now I faint. Can't do anymore. So anyway, there's a propagule, which you can also have in your hand as an item. And you can plop down in there. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot about the boat items. I better talk about those super fast or else I'm going to forget. Whoops. But anyway, did I screw everything up? I did. Let's put a propagule down. There you go. There it is, planted. Normally you plant them underwater, I think. Is that how that works? I'm pretty sure it is. So there you go. There it is, underwater. Anyway, that takes care of the mangrove trees. We'll talk about this other stuff on the ground I've set up in a minute. Oh yeah, bees. I put the little heart tramp stamp on there. See that? Doo-doo-doo. Long time ago I did that. We do have one more mud thing to talk about, but I wanted to quickly show you that I did. That frog jumps high. I also did all of the items, because sometimes the item is a separate texture, like in this case it is. Other times it just uses the regular texture, like grass. This is just the regular block. You don't have to make an item for that. But other times you do, and those are a lot of work sometimes to make look decent in such a small space. But I did all that. Alrighty, over here, mud with roots in it. Muddy roots, right? Whatever it's called. I took the roots, toned it down so it looked like it was covered in dirt, not sitting on top of the dirt. I'm really proud of how that turned out. Oh yeah, I got the tops too to work out. I forgot about that, because that's a separate thing too, doing the tops. I can't believe that worked out. Oh my gosh. So happy. Alrighty, packed mud and mud bricks. Alright, we need to talk about this. Now, this looks like... It used to, well, it did look like a Rice Krispie treat, and just before I started the video, I changed the colors. You might be telling me, okay, Turtle, what the heck is this crap? But if we look at the default texture again, you can see that is like balls of dirt, you know, of mud that are packed together with space in between, right? So look at that carefully while I blend in my textures, and see it's the same thing. I did have with the original default colors and it looked horrible, so I kind of made it a compromise between the mud colors, which match default by the way, and the default packed mud colors. So there you go. That's how that came to be. I'm curious to see how people are going to use it in context. Just because, hey, there's an oak tree in context. Those are still red crafts leaves. I have to do my own leaves. I've done the jungle leaves, mangrove leaves, and a few others, but then the rest is used the same, so I only need to do one, and that'll be all the rest of them. So I gotta do that soon. Actually, note to self, put that on my to-do list to do the leaves for the rest of the trees, so that the trees are 100% mine. There we go. There's an acacia tree. Look how nice that texture looks. Holy cow. Wow. As I say in my house, holy crap on a cracker, which actually another YouTuber uses, which I've always used myself, but they're from Wisconsin, so of course we're going to have similar phrases, how we say. Look at that. It's all the same leaves, so I just need to do one leaf texture, cover everything. Alrighty, so there's the packed mud. So here are the mud bricks. I know this looks kind of, it looks kind of like loud and like whoa in your face. But I've done like 7 versions of these and like 7 or 8 color versions of this. My previous color version didn't have the contrast between these two colors, but it was way too bright. So I made it a little bit darker, but then I made the contrast between the two a little different. I'm not going to tweak it further at this time. Never say never, but right now that's how I'm going to leave it. So again, before you're like, what the heck is Turtle doing with this thing? This is a very loud texture. Let me show you the default again, and let's analyze what we're looking at. So we've got these pretty symmetrical square mud bricks that were made out of, you know, the packed mud. And then there's space in between, but notice the bricks are chipped off. See these? They have chips, see? Some chips are bigger than others, so they're not perfectly square bricks with mortar in between. They're chipped bricks with dirt, more mud in between, right? So you got the packed mud for the bricks that are chipped, then you got the regular mud, his mortar in between. So now when I bring back my textures, you can see how much sense it makes, right? It makes perfect sense now. And then of course you get slabs, stairs, and walls with that. So there you go. I think that's everything I've been doing. Yeah, that's everything I want to talk about that I've done. So what does the future bring? Let's bring back third person turtle. Actually, maybe this will be a better thumbnail here. Wow, I'm going to keep working on 119. You know, I will get every new 119 block taken care of, and then I'll go back and do, you know, stuff that's still lingering from older versions. So right now my next plan is to start working on the skulk stuff. I have coordinates written down for an ancient city. What is that down there? Oh, it's a beehive down there, which I made that texture. Oops, I did a pretty good job running backwards, didn't I? I made that texture a long time ago. Oh, that one's full of honey, too. You don't see that very often. Or bee nest. There's a hive and there's a nest. They're different. Anywho, ancient city stuff. Will I ever visit an ancient city on Eternia? Probably. I mean, all you do is you take night vision potion and you just sneak around and bring a bunch of carpet with you, and when you get a sensor nearby, not a sensor, but a shrieker, just put in carpet, get rid of it. Look at that back there. This is the best seed ever. So I plan on doing the ancient city stuff, and then I'm going to go back and do the last two doors once I get the confidence that I can do it. Man, I'd like to build something like right in the wall here and overlook this. That'd be so cool. Anyway, I want to do those last two doors, and I need to finish the rest of the leaves, which is just one texture, and go back and do the granite. And how come I'm turning all weird? Do the granite and the andesite and diorite and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm just rambling now. So the big things, ancient city stuff, and the rest of the 119 blocks, the final two doors, and then just go back, and if I feel like doing something, go back and doing it. So anyway, there'll be at least one more, if not two more or more texture pack update videos, so like and subscribe so you can see when the other texture pack update videos for 119 come out, and I'll see you then.